These expeditions tend to push people's boundaries, push their comfort limits, put them in places, situations that they aren't necessarily familiar with. The limitations people have set on themselves are not necessarily accurate. For people in the military, the mission must succeed, regardless of what the current situation is. In that team environment, with that no-fail attitude, that allows us to do a lot of things that individually we wouldn't think we were capable of. But as a group, there's strength in it, and if everyone believes that the mission has to be completed, that mental attitude is instrumental in completing anything in life.
When you're out of the norm of society and you're out in the bush, you really get to know people. And there's communal things that have to happen. Setting up the tent, setting up the bathroom, putting away the food. It wasn't a thing where any person was in charge. It was like we were all in charge. We were all working together, and you look around, you see that something needed to be done. You just did it. And that was just a beautiful thing to see, is that we just all worked so well together. You were given your space, but at the same time, you were never really alone. You always had somebody that you could be with and depend on.
It was an incredible experience, very humbling, inspiring. We had 12 veterans from different conflicts, 25 business leaders that had joined the expedition to raise funding. Just the synergies, the integration. I get to share stories, experiences. I was able to share that with business leaders. It was just incredible to see the interest that they had in wanting to support Canadian Armed Forces, the community.
A lot of people are minded to reconnect with their abilities, where this experience actually helped me decelerate, realizing I don't need to be a hero. It's kind of maybe the opposite of a lot of people, but for me, going there, not reaching the top, realizing my limits was so important to be able to sit down and say, hey, you don't need to be the best all the time, right?
When you're on tour, you're always thinking about the future, about back home. The intent was to start a business, but my retirement came at the beginning of the pandemic. TPL ended up deciding that we were going to be used to lead one of their expeditions. It was an opportunity to get experience running trips with civilians, but for me, more importantly, it was an opportunity to give back in a way. If I could be part of providing to another soldier what I got out of my trip, that's how I measure the success of the business at the moment.